few months ago, I was invited to give a speech in Midwood, Brooklyn. It was the week after the hurricane. Many of the subways were down. There were huge traffic jams, and you remember that there was a run on car service companies because the subways weren't working, and the organizers considered deferring my speech, but since they'd already spent all this time advertising it, we decided to go ahead anyway. And as it turned out, it was the right decision. The house was pretty full. But since I was concerned about transportation to Brooklyn, I made sure to get there early, and I ended up getting to Midwood 2 hours early. So I took a walk to downtown Midwood. I'd never been there before. Do you know that there is an amazing world out there? In a place called Brooklyn? Who knew? Midwood reminded me of Mea Shearim. Brooklyn reminded me of Bnei Brak. That is, mostly Haredi, ultra-Orthodox neighborhoods. Everywhere you turn, there are yeshivas, kosher restaurants, Jewish stores, and fellow members of the tribe rushing to and fro doing some errand or Sunday afternoon shopping. The 30-minute trip from this Reform congregation on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to Midwood could just as well have been like taking a trip on a time machine back 3 centuries to mid-Europe. Came across a wedding gown store called Tznius Princess. Tznius, tzniut, really, is the Hebrew word for modesty. Modesty. That's where many Haredi women go to buy their wedding gowns. As beautiful as can be purchased, but within the parameters of tznius. Whoever buys from this tznius store is a tznius princess. In Midwood, it's actually good for business if the store promotes modesty. On Avenue J, I saw a huge sign above a pizza parlor proclaiming to passers-by, "Prepare now for Moshiach." There is an expectation that any day now the Messiah will come. Some in Midwood believe that he will be in the form of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Menachem Schneerson. In fact, I heard that the New York police have put extra bodyguards around the Rebbe's grave because there have been rumors of death threats against him. You can practically hear this discussion in Midwood between those ultra-Orthodox Jews who believe that the Rebbe is still alive and those who don't. The Lubavitcher said, my Rebbe talks to God 3 times a day. The anti-Lubavitcher responded, how do you know that your Rebbe talks to God 3 times a day? Said the Lubavitcher, would a person who talks to God 3 times a day lie? There are parts of the Jewish world that are thriving. It was encouraging to see firsthand, and it was life-affirming and Jewishly affirming. And the latest survey of the New York Jews actually showed an increase in the Jewish population of the tri-state area. But before you get too carried away, know that all of that growth is attributed to the Orthodox and the ultra-Orthodox communities. Everyone else is shrinking. Everyone else is losing devotees. Everyone else is contracting. It's not unique to Judaism. In my discussions with non-Jewish colleagues, mostly from liberal Protestant denominations, they tell me the same thing. The churches are losing members. Part of the reason might be misbehavior on the part of the clergy, an unprecedented, almost daily drumbeat of disappointing news that exposes the imperfections and fallibilities of spiritual leaders, demonstrating that we're just like everyone else. We have some good things about us. We have some not so good things about us. But I think that the main reason goes to the reality of modernity itself. Technologically, we have advanced more in the last century than all of the previous centuries combined. You don't need to go to the rabbi anymore to find out when Passover begins, how to kosher your dishes, what prayers to say, what texts to study. It's all online. You can tweet Torah. You can Skype spirituality. You can Tumblr Talmud. You can try to be what many people think they are, and they tell me, spiritual but not religious. But even more, modernity has presented us with essentially two new disciplines, science and secular philosophy. No modern person can suspend reason every time a dinosaur bone is discovered. Modern science and secular philosophy, disciplines that demand evidence and proof, have required us to think more deeply about religion. In many ways, it's religiously exhilarating to live in times such as ours. We have at our disposal all of these new powerful tools to discover the secrets of outer space and inner peace. But many of our classic religious assumptions have been upended, and this tension is causing unprecedented disorientation and disillusion. Some of us have responded in the Midwood way, and some of us have responded in the Manhattan way. Some of us have withdrawn from the modern world. They do not aspire to higher education. They do not engage in modern culture. They retreat from the onslaught of modernity. For others, science has become the new golden idol that answers all of life's deepest questions. You want to know about creation? Go to an astrophysicist or an anthropologist. They'll tell you the truth. You want to feel inner peace? Go to a doctor who will prescribe a pill that you can pop once a day that will alter the chemistry in your prefrontal cortex of your brain. You'll feel good. In some quarters, even to raise the word God. Well, it's not something that Upper West Side sophisticates with our advanced degrees in tow should really mention in polite company. We don't start out this way. As children, we're filled with mystery and wonder and awe. It's just that by the time we graduate from the great universities, it's been beaten out of us. Utterly. You want to know how I know? One of our nursery school parents sent over a transcript this week of an hour-long discussion of our 4- and 5-year-olds that took place in class last month. In response to the question of the teacher, what would you like to learn more about? One of the children, let's call him Zachary, said that he wanted to learn more about what is inside our bones, which generated this response from his classmate. Let's call him Russell. If you want to know what's inside of your bones, well, you can ask God because no one else knows. He's right. The truth is, medical practitioners can tell us the composition of our bones, how much cartilage, collagen, protein, blood, but they can't tell us what's inside of our bones. What is our essence? That's what the children were asking. What are we made of? There is more that we do not know about existence than what we know. If you want to know the answers to many of the questions we ask, as Russell said, You have to ask God because no one else knows. Much of human existence and much of what matters in human existence lay beyond chemistry and even reason. If the only answer we give is chemistry, we deprive ourselves and our children of truly understanding the world. And that, in my opinion, explains some of the existential angst that so many modern people feel. This sense of futility, uselessness, and vanity. We don't know much more than we do know. And therefore, faith is not some primitive or childish pre-modern state of mind. Faith is when you believe something that you know isn't true. That's not faith. Faith is belief in an unseen order of some kind where the unanswerable questions of the natural order can be explained. Scientists do this too. Science is impossible without working hypotheses that cannot be proven. They are taken on faith. We are spiritual beings. We have a need to believe. We have a need to search because we sense that there is something more. 5-year-old Iris explained, God is everything. Because God is everything, so no one knows God. He is everything and he is the whole earth, added one of her classmates. Rebecca responded, you can't find God. Because he was alive a long, long time ago. He's dead now. Vera said, I don't agree. My mommy told me that he is still alive. I guess her mommy didn't get the latest scientific bulletin that God is dead. Francesca said, he is alive because my dad told me. He is very old, but he's still alive. Otherwise, there would be no city or town. And then Max helpfully added, the only way that you can talk to God is to play music and sing to him. He likes you to sing to him. You can't really talk to him, but you can sing to him. This is what we call in theology class the ineffability of God. See? These children get it. This is who we used to be. They remind us of ourselves before life took its toll on us. They understand the central questions of life revolve around this sense that there is something more. To activate this feeling of something more, we must sing. We must be poetic. God likes that. The children sense that this quest to discover something more is not limited to science. That's not what they mean when they ask, what is in our bones? They sense that the deepest part of what we call spirituality is feeling, not reason. They realize that to activate this feeling, we must tap into the emotional world of the human creature. And that these emotions are real. They're true. They are what makes us human, just as much as the dictates of science. So we are caught between these two worlds, between Midwood and Manhattan. We are caught between these two disciplines, scientific secularism and religion. We are caught between two impulses, belief and disbelief. Disbelief, by the way, is different from doubt. Doubt is the essential tool of the religious person. Disbelief is a modern expression of undue confidence in modernity and in our capacity to explain all things. We're living in an era of extremes. There is little subtlety between these two worlds. There is too much dogmatism and certainty. It's like the story of the atheist and the religious person who go fishing. The atheist casts his net down on the water, pulls up a stone on which is carved, "I do not exist. Signed, God." To which the atheist shouts in triumph at his religious colleague, "See? What did I tell you?" Somewhere between Midwood and Manhattan, there is a third way. We need to discover it. It will determine the futures of both Midwood and Manhattan. And who knows? Perhaps our children will show us the way. Amen.